excited. Brian's excited. Everybody's excited. And we're back. Episode 117. I am your host, Matt Musselwhite. That's Bryan Kern, just so snazzy. And we are joined with our guest today, Tom Rumer from the band The Oklahoma Kid, joining us all the way from Oklahoma.
hello, yeah, Oklahoma and Germany. Yeah.
I didn't know Oklahoma was in Germany, but that's crazy. Where are you actually from?
I'm from Rostock. It's like northeast Germany.
Involved in World War II. We don't know where any of that shit is either. I can't spot Poland on a map. Come on. Brian, don't look at me like that. You can't point to Poland on a map.
I mean, I'm not the best at geography. History, though, I'm good. So I got the Poland reference, but I know where Poland, both Poland
I'm not
and
good at
Germany.
geometry either.
How far from Stuttgart are you?
Oh, it's 8 hours or so. So it's basically far away through Germany because Stuttgart is like more middle south or so.
Yeah.
Are you a soccer fan at all? Football? Do you have any allegiances to any clubs?
Oh, it's a huge scene around here, like with a lot of hooligan stuff. Like one of the biggest clubs in Europe, I would say. It's called FC Hansa Rostock, and I'm not a big fan of football, so soccer, as you would say. But yeah, it's a huge scene here. So yeah,
the Bundesliga in Germany is on fire. Like,
yeah, right, Bundesliga, right.
Yeah, it's some of the best soccer. Like we have TV deals over here that are like, I know at one point Fox was exclusively showing it. So like, there's something about German soccer, that league, that's like on fire. It's really cool.
What sports are you into?
Oh, none at all. There's no sports. I mean, I grew up with football, so I went to some games back in the days. But yeah, there's none left. I'm not that team sports player. I mean, I enjoy playing it, but yeah, that's it.
It's kind of fascinating how there is really no crossover between sports and being in a band. We often find guys in bands, if they're a sports fan, it's kind of like it's rare. Like they might have their merch inspired by a sports team, but like no one's played it. They hardly have time to watch it or really nerd out over it. And it's like, I guess if you're devoted to one or the other, you're not going to be a superstar athlete in the NFL and have a band. You got to be one or the other.
Yeah, not to mention it's like the band, the kids that like bands and are into that are like, for lack of a better term, nerds, right? Like, they are like they didn't go to sports.
Nerds
so they
like sports too, Brian.
I understand that, but the non-athletic ones generally gravitate towards music rather than the sports, since they're not athletic and they don't really feel like they fit into those realms. And I feel like they do cross over. We've seen some collabs and some crossovers of certain things that maybe work, but it's just unfortunate that there's not more of like a rub there, and it has to do, I think, with the sports side of it too, because we see hip hop and R&B artists, courtside at NBA games, right? We're the metal artists.
That's all for celebrity. They don't give a shit about those teams,
they don't.
Dude.
Yeah, they don't.
It's like being spotted at Coachella, dude. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous. Well, we're stoked we have the Oklahoma Kid vocalist Thomas Brumer. I'm gonna fuck this name up. Brumer.
I love it. Brumer.
It's so fun. German's a fun word. The new album, Tangerine Tragic. Didn't make it easy. Tongue twister there. Tangerine Tragic is streaming everywhere. What the hell does that mean? Tangerine Tragic?
Oh, the like we scattered some phrases and words that could be good for song names or the album name. And Fred, our guitarist, who's doing most of the songwriting, and he's also a big soccer fan, by the way.
Nice.
He knows it all. And
crossover. Let's go.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend, and she writes from time to time like small poems. And she had this one poem that's called Tangerine Tragic, and we were like, dude, we need this. We asked her because because it's obvious that we got it from her. I mean, not for public, not for you guys, but for us, and she would know it too. And yeah, she said yes, and we're very happy that we could call the album like this, because I think it's like a facet of emotions that comes with it, and I think it fits perfectly with the songs. Yeah.
That's great. No, I like that. A little bit of inside stuff. I like it.
It says the album is about bleak existentialism, social commentary, and a reflection of self. What is bleak existentialism? Like, are you like just
I don't
how
even know
shitty
what
life
that means.
is? Those are crazy adjectives.
Dude, I never heard that, but
Hell of a
Your
press
PR people
release,
did.
though.
Your PR people loved it.
I have to translate it first. I mean, I don't even know the words. Bleak with double E?
Bleak is just like very flat. There's not a lot. I don't have a lot of hope. I have a bleak outlook.
When I hear
Oh.
bleak existentialism, it sounds like I've heard this described in death metal albums. It's
I
like
have to stop.
they just hate life.
Existentialism.
Okay.
What?
Okay. But yeah, I think that would fit perfectly in the to the songs with like this self-reflection and maybe self-hate style, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of aggressiveness too. A lot of introspective anger, it seems.
Yeah.
So did the PR people get this one right when it says social commentary? That makes me think that you're talking about how shitty society is and stuff like that.
There's one song. It's also it has a German name, so you can slaughter it or butcher it, however you want to call it. If
it starts with a W, we already did.
Oh, you did already? Okay, let me hear.
What is it? Walsterbaden?
Oh, almost. It's Waldsterben.
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 Way off.
Waldsterben. I like.
That's basically it's like forest dying. So it's like more climate change song, and I usually don't go for like politics in the lyrics, but like the lyrics I wrote for sketch, I mean like the phrases, they fit perfectly into this theme, so I didn't want to change them up, and tried to put this theme into it, and so it's the last single, Waldsterben.
I wanted to get your thoughts on like current society. Since you're in a band, you have a platform to voice your opinion and lyrics and stuff. Like, there's all sorts of stereotypes in America that we're familiar with, trends that we're sick of, overall behavior that we find cringe. Is there any sort of stuff like that goes on in Germany that you're just like, oh god, that again? Ugh, I'm sick of seeing that, or that's dumb. I don't know why people fall for that.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, Germany compared to the US, I mean, like most of the listeners of this podcast may be from the US, and I think it's hard to kind of compare the things so you could like understand that well, because like you have people like Bernie Sanders, for example, and this is like an extreme leftist in the politic game, and this is like he's midfield. He would be midfield in Germany. So even the right wing guys would be like him, because all things he wants for I mean like healthcare and all that, we have it since I don't know like 100 years or so, and it's crazy that like all these what's it called, Republican is it right? No. Democrats and that they are like against all those changes, and it's weird. And in Germany it's more complex, and right now we have 3 parties, what's it called, ruling. It's like a combination that like they had to put themselves together, and it's crazy. It had to work like this because they got voted all, and we have much more parties than you have in the US. I mean, you have like all those small parties who never gets any votes, like
like
Kanye.
libertarians,
independent, libertarian,
no one's voting for a librarian.
And in Germany, it's like we have some bigger parties, but we also have small parties, and they all end in the Bundestag. It's basically what's it called where all the people sit in the US?
Like a Senate,
Yeah, right.
Congress.
Basically, basically they land there, and so it's a combination of many parties, and
Yeah, it's like a council.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like I think 800 people or so are there. So it's very mixed opinions, and there's some parties that shouldn't be there, but yeah, I hope
Same.
it's not turning to the
What
worse.
to comment on that? We have a weird thing in the U.S., and this is just to make a comment. We don't have to continue on the political end of things, but
As long as the guest says it, it's okay. We can't.
okay, we have a weird thing with institutionalization, and that goes from small end of things, from schooling to politics, man. And unfortunately, you get a lot of crazy shit, regardless of where you're at, Germany or here. With that being said, I asked this today on my Facebook. What's the one thing that's just pissing you off right now in society? Like the one thing that's really just grinding your gears?
Okay, is that a question to me right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think
He doesn't want to
mostly.
ask me that question. We'll be here all day.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it's to me it's pretty easy. But I have to get it in English. I think what pisses me off the most is like all the profits Europe and also the US in the end got from colonialization.
Colonialization.
Yeah, thank you. That's
You're
that's it. And it's crazy because like we have like museums and all that with stuff from Africa and somewhere else, and we pretend it's all our stuff.
Oh, we just like stealing shit. We just
Yeah.
like stealing stuff.
And I mean that's just one little thing, and also like with the war in Ukraine, and also it's like never ending story. You can start wherever you want, and that's, I think, to me it feels like this is the root of all evil when it comes to this, like. And yeah, also this white supremacy thing that all countries
Stems into colonialization and some weird ass
yeah
deep rooted shit. Yep.
yeah
And
yeah.
what's unfortunate, and I know that this is what you were kind of speaking to as far as parties not belonging in this Congress, right, or in this council, but unfortunately you have that shit creep into politics and creep into certain parties and certain power positions, right? And then you get, we have examples of it. You guys obviously had examples and have had examples of it, right? And it's not like it's gone away. These are just stupid ideas, and for whatever reason they're perpetuated and creeping in, and it sucks ultimately, right? But it does have a lot to do with industrialization of things, and fucking colonialization is a huge call out. That's a big one, for real, big one.
It's so crazy you asked him like what's pissing you off right now, because legit the next question I had down was to bitch about inflation, rising gas prices, and literally ask him what bothers him right now. So yeah, get out of my head.
Yeah.
You've seen on the news, I'm sure, like we're complaining about inflation. Like back in my day, things were affordable, and I mean back in my day, like 2006, like it wasn't shit to take your family to Disneyland. It was affordable. You could do it on like a minimum wage salary. Now, shit, Brian, if we were to go to Disneyland together, you're paying your own way and some of mine, because you can't do shit now. Do you know what the price of gas is in your area right now? Because I know Europe is way higher than America.
Dude, you're complaining, but you know that the gas prices in Europe went up like the last 5 or 10 years or so, and it's crazy. You pay like, how much do you pay for a gallon? I don't even know what that's in liter. I think
It varies.
Yeah,
It
the
varies.
conversion is
We're probably averaging 6.20, 6.30 a gallon, 6.50 a gallon, certain areas.
650. And how much? What is a? I mean, we have to pay like when it's. I think the most people drive on diesel and not on
Oh
the
yeah,
regular one.
you guys have diesel. So diesel for us is an extra $1.50 to $2 more, to be honest. So yeah, you're probably looking at 7.50.
sometimes diesel fluctuates less, but it's always a premium. It's always more expensive. I was told in England and in most of Europe that you're paying between, when you do the conversion, somewhere between $10 and $13 a gallon American. Like,
Okay, yeah, that could work out. Yeah.
How
Something
much?
like
One more
this.
time, Matt. Say that again.
it's between $10 and $13 a gallon between England and France and some other European places. Now, I don't know for certain. I don't know if it exceeds that, but I haven't seen it much less. That's after you do the conversion, because they go by liters, and we don't do the metric system. We make up our own shit.
So statistically here, and I'm just checking as of today, the average price of gas in the U.S. is $4.98, and for diesel, it's $5.82. So a little less than what I was saying, but
And
you know
if
one
you're in
thing I did.
LA, the city that matters, it's like $7.50 a gallon for gas. It's fucking
It's
asinine.
it's at
Weed
the
is
point.
cheaper than gas right now, people.
It's
You're
at
on
the
the wrong
point.
gas.
It's at the point to where a gallon of gas for us here in the U.S. is going to cost more than an hour's worth of minimum wage. Which is kind of crazy to think about. It's going to put you in the negative to drive to work to make bullshit money. Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I get your point. And the crazy thing is, I mean, it's expensive in Germany too, but we have like other transportation things going on. I don't even own a car. I just borrow the one from my grandma, from my mother, and
Yeah.
I can go all the way by bike because like the city
Yeah.
is so small, and or we go by train or something. And Germany is so small, and everywhere you want to go, you can go by like public transportation or something like that, and you have to rely on your car in the US. And it's like, and when can I advance it a little bit further?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
one of the things that are like messing me up are is that like the capitalism as we know it when we were kids. I mean, you're like mid-30s or so, right?
Preach.
And we grew up with the. I mean, I didn't grow up with the stuff. I'm from GDR. Actually, I was born there, so I'm a commie actually. But and the crazy thing is now it starts to break away, because now you start to see the complications that come with the capitalism, and like where the companies make their profit from.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And now it starts. So if all like those systems don't change, it's going to be worse. And that's how I feel for the US in the beginning. I think the US is like the country that feels it first, and later than Europe. But it's crazy. It's crazy. And like people like my grandma also, she grew up like in the GDR, but when the wall, what's it called, when the GDR was back to Germany, like regular Germany, it was for them like, now we know how it is to live with money and wealth and all that, because before that money wasn't important, because everyone had the same. You like, either you had like something, everyone had an apartment or somewhere to live. Almost no one had a car, because when you bought a car, you had to wait 15 to 20 years to get it, because like it had and also you just get it like
damn, it's like fucking 6 months to get a Tesla, and people are tripping out. 20 years for an automobile? Germany makes some of the best cars on the planet. 20 years for my Audi? The fuck?
No, it wasn't Audi. It was Trabant, it's called, and it was a car. I'm not sure it was produced in the GDR, but somewhere you
if they don't have an F1 team, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's like basically it's a car made from carbon. Yeah, so yeah, it's crazy. It's a funny car, and it's a cheap car, but you still had to wait like all this time. But everyone had everything they need. They had like food, they had an apartment. Everyone was kind of happy, because why not? You had everything, but you couldn't like travel or something like that. And so when the capitalistic West Germany came in, it was like, now we can feel the wealth, and they fed from it. And so my grandma's like middle class right now, because she spent money well in like stuff. But I can do it. I'm living in this cheap apartment, and that's it.
So, I mean, I don't necessarily, man, I hate to go down these rabbit holes because it does get deep, right? And it does get
Oh yeah.
into
Here
these
we
situations.
go.
How old are you? How old are you, Tom?
How old? I'm 32.
Okay, so you're our age, right? So you're in that point in your life where you're like, you have no choice now but to be an adult and contribute and, live in the real world, right? For whatever it's worth. This does go to one of my questions I had about the band and the music, but how do you feel German metalcore is influencing its culture and society that, envelops it as of right now? Because a lot of German metalcore, and this is what I've gauged, regardless, like Oklahoma Kid, it's a German band, Oklahoma Kid, doesn't really make sense, right? We butter the bread with butter. I've been listening to those guys for fucking the longest time. Same shit. Kind of corny, kind of funny, but
Electric Callboy.
yeah.
Are you about to allege German metal bands aren't serious? Because Rammstein is going to be pissed.
I mean, so it goes into Rammstein, it goes into MFKDM and all these other fucking bands. Like, it's there always is some sort of powerful emotional message behind German rock, metal, whatever heavy music is coming from Germany. So how do you feel the metalcore scene specifically is influencing society and culture around you as you see it?
Dude, that's a hard question, actually.
It's different because here in the States, we're either about, like, we do get a lot of political talk and a lot of social and cultural talk and topics, right? Or it's all like BS bullshit. I feel
Okay.
like German bands are intentional with their lyrics when it comes to what they're like. If you're going to be in a heavy band, you almost have to have certain messaging and, ideas behind your music almost.
Oh, I think for the bands or the musicians, it's a thing, but I don't think it's for the fans. I think like they're not too much into politics and all that. I think they're happy when they get what they need or what they want. And I have like a crazy example. I mean, it's not metalcore, but I've been with friends of mine, Ukrainians, in Wacken. They played there like 3 or 4 years ago, and it's like crazy unpolitical how the festival is. And yeah, it's weird. It weirded me out because I'm more of a extreme left scene, and some of my friends are from this area, and to me it was crazy because they had like the army there with their own ride and showing off all their stuff and join the army and all that stuff, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? And yeah, it's so I think the metal scene, I just like call it overall metal scene, is more not political interested, I would say, but I'm not sure. I think like more like smaller like screamo or emo scenes, like with a bigger underground scene, are extremely political, also like grindcore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the rest is like more casual thing.
Interesting. What is there like a time in your life or your childhood that you can pinpoint, like when you wanted to be in a band? Did something click for you?
I think, I'm not sure. Yeah, I liked singing, and then were some bands. Like I started with SLA Dying or something, a band that I wouldn't listen to anymore. By the way, it's like
As I like
bad.
trying to kill my wife.
We talk about it heavily here.
Yeah, we rip on that band a lot. I mean, they're falling apart, so like the wheels
Yeah,
are
they
falling
are.
off that train. God bless them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of my favorite bands from back in the day. But yeah, and my friend Fred, who's our guitarist, he had another band, and yeah, we just like were not even jamming or so. But I was like, yeah, I could try to sing, and yeah, started it, and yeah, this is where it went.
Man, when was your first band? How old were you when you your first official show? How old were you when you had your first official show as a band?
I'm not sure, but I think with 17, so it's pretty late, I would say.
Dang, I mean, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. A lot of guys don't really start jamming. You hear about stories where guys don't start jamming until they're like early 20s, right? Until they find like a solid band, and then obviously the guys that hit it big when they're later in life too. But
The one time we have a German band on, I'm still drinking Mexican beer. Sorry,
How
bro.
dare you?
Do you remember the first CD or album you purchased?
Not that I purchased, but I got for birthday, and I think it
Perfect.
was Backstreet Boys, Backstreet
Yes!
Back or so. Yeah,
Yes!
I
That
would say
is
that.
that is a perfect segue into the next question. I was going to ask if you had a guilty pleasure in your playlist or something you listen to in the car, like a song that's like you like it, but it's something you would be kind of embarrassed to play it up loud with the windows down.
I really like that question because I don't have any guilty pleasures. I would say it's like for me, it's music, and like everyone should jam what they want to. And
Yeah.
I get the thing that people are feeling embarrassed for something, but I think no one should feel embarrassed for the things they like. And yeah, it's
Man,
and we are jamming like some crazy 90s Italo disco stuff. Like I don't even know if you know it, like Eiffel 65 or something like that.
Yes.
yeah.
And it's like people think we mean it in a funny way, but we enjoy it, so we
If
love
you
it, and
play
that's
Blue, you're going to take me back to the skating rink in the early 90s,
Dude,
bro. Oh my
get
god,
out.
don't do that.
Sixth grade.
Don't
I
do
was in the
that. Don't
sixth
play
grade when that
Aqua.
shit. Sixth grade when that shit came out. It's so funny you mentioned the Backstreet Boys because I went and saw the Backstreet Boys in concert with my mom.
Brian
oh
was a
nice.
Backstreet Boy for 3 consecutive Halloweens.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
AJ, Nick, and Brian.
That's some from time to time I'd like check out older bands, like pop things that aren't a big deal anymore. And like Nick Carter, he's like a killer. He's I wish I could sing like him. He's like the best
Oh, yeah.
in the band actually, and the
Yeah.
other guys are like mediocre, but he's like crazy.
Same with JT Lake. Same with Justin Timberlake from NSYNC. JT
Yeah.
Lake is my boy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. What's funny is I was completely embarrassed about being at the Backstreet Boy concert, and my mom was like a mega fan. I was 13, first of all. I was 13, right? So middle school, I was in like, anyways, I end up seeing 2 girls I go to school with. So I also
Game
ran into
over.
people I knew there, embarrassed as fuck.
Game over.
My mom bawls her eyes out. My mom is just crying as the Backstreet Boys are playing, having like a midlife crisis, just going through it. She's just crying, losing her
My
shit.
mom used to play the Spice World cassette on the way to drop me off to like 3rd or 4th grade, but you like actually went to the concert. That's shame.
Oh yeah.
Shame.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Drove 2 hours.
I mean,
to San
listen,
Diego.
hey, what Tom said, listen to what you want and don't be ashamed of it. But Brian, you should be ashamed.
Embarrassed as fuck.
You kind of answered this a little bit already with the political aspect, but like from the perspective of a band trying to make it, what's the German metal scene like?
Oh, I think the German metal fans want something that isn't too serious. Like Electro Cowboy, as for example. It's like yeah, and I think they just want to party. I think a good example for Born of Osiris, like a band with a serious theme, but when they're playing live, it's a party band. And it's.
Did you say Born of Osiris?
Yeah.
They're fucking they're crazy when they get off stage. Yeah, they could party, but their music's not party.
Yeah, and that's I think that's what the German metal scene wants, and yeah, that's how it is.
So a problem that me and Brian were actually in a band at one point. It was terrible. The name sucked. We weren't very good, and Brian kicked me out twice. But a lot of hardships that we faced was, trying to get noticed, trying to make the whole MySpace at the time, trying to make MySpace happen. We had to deal with a lot of pay-to-play promoters. Where you're given like 150 tickets, something crazy, and you have to sell all these tickets in a town you probably don't live in and may not have any buzz in, and you have to go sell these tickets, and then you have to show up to that show with the money of every one of those tickets, pay the promoter, and then you're allowed to play. Do you have that sort of thing in Germany, or are we just capitalistic pricks?
No, there's something like that, and it's weird it's like more competition that you buy yourself in, but with not as much tickets as you mentioned. But in the end you can win something, but it's just like you don't win anything like a coupon and worth 500 euros, so like I don't know, like $600 US dollars, and yeah, that's it. But those I mean, they're what's it called, very biased, because the more people you sell the tickets, the better your placement gets, because like in the crowd are your friends or your family and all that, and that's that's how these shows work, I guess. That yeah, get your family and you get one step further and sell more tickets, and maybe the next time you get even further and then you win the 500 euros. Yes,
You're
You
saying
sound
that
like
the
every
money
promoter ever.
the money you pull together from the ticket sales goes to like like whoever had the most draw, they get to take home that money.
no. It's like you have to pay something in advance, and then you get tickets for it, and it's up to you if you sell the tickets or not. So
You get an
pay,
opportunity to earn your money back, pretty much.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then in the end you can also earn something more after you played, I don't even know, like 3 or 5 shows or so. So yeah, I worked at a venue where shows like this happened, and those evenings were pretty much weird because you had like an audience that you would never see in a club like this, because they were with their family and there's their grandma and grandpa and all that. It's kind of cute and it's kind of funny, I would say.
I've heard some success stories about bands overseas that are able to upload their music online, kind of get a crossover buzz in the US, and they're able to have some success before they even get to a label. I'm sure you guys are making the big bucks now, but as an unsigned band, were you ever able to make money in that metal scene? Because out here, none of the unsigned bands are making a dime. I don't know if it's any different in Europe.
I think maybe there are some bands that work like this. I think it depends on the scene that you're in. And those, I mean, all those metal and hardcore punk scenes we all know, it's a different game to like those pop bands or so.
It's niche. It's not as widespread as pop music or even hip hop and stuff.
Yeah, and it's crazy that when you play like at what's it called, like a town festival or something like that, like organized by your city or the town, then you get like money. You get like real money, and I know some bands that only play shows like that, like around. I've just like last weekend I was in Munich with my brother's band, and they got like pretty good cash for it. And yeah, that's it. They just went there, played a show. I mean, it was like a 9 hours drive or so. But yeah, they got pretty good money from it, even if they're a pretty small band and almost like no one around there knows them, because the city has the money to spend.
So that actually gets to one of my questions I had for you. Whether this being, well, let's stick it to more when you were coming up as a band, maybe not when you had label support, but when you guys were on your own and doing it yourself, how easy or hard was it to travel around and tour Germany as a country? Out here in the States, we're fairly regional. You can be in a state, a city, and have probably a pretty decent span of a region that you can play or a radius that you can play in and, build a name for yourself. Is it that easy in Germany, or is it a little bit more difficult?
No, I think it's hard because the scene shrunk a little bit in the last, I would say, 10 years or so.
Mm.
And the first shows we played, we just like looked up some events on Facebook and just wrote every promoter we could get if we could play that show. And no matter what, we play it for the low. And that's how we got our first, I don't even know, 10 shows or so. And they just like, sometimes some bands jumped off, so we went into their spot, and then we even got some more money. But yeah, it's where we live. We have to drive like at least 4 hours, but most of the
Shit.
most of the time
That's
it's more.
rough.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
That's
like
that would have ended the typical American band right there. If mommy and daddy can't lend me their car and pay all the gas to get there, nah. Like I've noticed a lot of bands that get a jump start, like they're either like young kids and they get signed quickly. They always have rich mommy and daddy money to make it happen. Makes things a lot easier. Have you been to the U.S. before?
yeah, some several times. I also was with like the band I mentioned before, Acranius, who play in Wacken. I was in the band before, and we had like some shows on the West Coast. We also play in Los Angeles,
Nice.
and but those shows aren't comparable to like even the shittiest German shows. It was crazy. It was like I don't
I,
even. Yeah,
Wow. Okay, because I thought the German fans there's a different breed of metal out there. You know, I think of Vader specifically, but like they LA went harder because LA metal guys, they stand at the back of the crowd and it's a
yeah.
bunch of like metal musicians who are like, I could play that but better. They actually like threw down for you.
no, that's it was like more the shows where like the guy that promoted the shows was called this Homeless Productions. Maybe you have heard of him.
Mm-mm.
And
No, but I'll
this
look it up.
this guy was never at any show, and we had like one big show. It was Las Vegas Death Fest. It was like
Nice.
bigger one and it was pretty nice. And so we had I'm not even sure like five or six shows or so that were around like LA area and one in Phoenix or so, and those shows were in pubs mostly. One show, I think the best show of them was in the Five Star Bar in LA.
So what you're saying is none of the shows were good.
Yeah,
You're
it was
saying even the shittiest German shows were better than the LA shows. Yeah, that's what
exact.
I got.
Oh,
That's
my
what I
bad.
got.
I'm
Yeah,
fucking
that's what I
stupid.
got.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
bad.
it
See,
was like
that's
uh,
unfortunate because we can go hard. We can go hard. We're actually from California. Matt and I are from California, and
That's
so
why I
that
know
LA
like the
scene,
LA crowds are they're
so
they're
like
yeah,
whack.
but
bougie.
I
Yeah.
understand, but it's like we didn't get a pay or something, maybe $20 or something, and
Ha!
like, oh, here you got a coupon code for this pizza store around the door.
Yeah.
So and it was like, what is this? Like when you even play the smallest shows in Germany, I mean, for real, the smallest shows, like 10 people are attending or so, you get like uh a catering like with like drinks and all that with food, and someone is doing like vegan chili con carne or something like that, and you get like the basics. That's or you get a
Yeah.
place to sleep and something like that. But we had to take care of everything ourselves, and it's what we never experienced before in Germany, and was like, wow, crazy. I mean, the Five-Star Bar show, it was pretty nice. It was like crowded, but the other shows were like in pubs and with not even sound engineer or something like that, with the bar owner do this slider here and here, please don't use the knobs, and will be gone right now, but don't change anything, and all this. It's
Well,
crazy, crazy. Never had something like this
if
happen
you ever
before.
find yourself in Texas, in the Lone Star State, we're basically our own country. You let me and Matt know. There's plenty of venues all throughout the Texas area that'll set you up right, get you good sound guys, get you good situated.
We'll get you some good weed.
Don't worry about LA next time you come out. That's not important. Get yourself into some
Yeah,
good
LA
areas.
is bougie. It's a little
Yeah,
stuck up their own way.
yeah.
I mean,
What
I
is?
can.
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
I can understand it because it's like every night there were like 10 shows or so, and I've been there a little bit longer than the rest of the band, and I was like with some Mexican guys, and it was crazy how much was going on. I saw my first backyard show or my first midnight rehearsal in like a
Yes.
living area, like where it's like that. This would never happen in Germany, never, and it's crazy.
What is a typical the Oklahoma Kid show like?
Of we're small. I don't know. Hopefully there are people. No, but I think it's we're I think we're like a harder band, but we don't have that much mosh parts, and so um when people are seeing us the first time, I would say at least they look like they would enjoy it and pay attention to the music. And this is the best I could hope for, I would say, for new fans.
If you're ever coming to Texas again, we're gonna show up for you, and we're gonna make sure that everybody has a good fucking time, because that's
we're
how
right under Oklahoma.
Yeah, we're right under Oklahoma, so we'll even bring Oklahomans into it as well and make it real weird. I do have a question: is the reference to your band name just because you love Oklahoma so much, or is it because of the?
No, it was we needed a name for the band even before, like, we were just like two guys, but it was like, dude, next time something good comes up, we just like take it as a name. And I was watching Goodfellas with Fred, and there's like where Joe Pesci is like in this bar, and he's like, yeah, I'm the Oklahoma Kid, and we were like, yeah, that's it. We take this because we love Scorsese movies, and we love Joe Pesci, and it was like, that's perfect.
Goodfellas is the best.
Yeah. Oklahoma Kid is an actual old-timey Western.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I never seen it, because I don't even think there's a German version of the movie, because like,
it's like an American Western.
Yeah.
So hey, real quick, I think it's funny that German bands take like they just take American words and put it, and that all of a sudden it's a thing. Like, we butter the bread with butter, and is okay. You guys literally just took Oklahoma Kid and threw it as a band name. Like, it's got no deeper meaning than it's just something cool. You also referenced it for Tangerine Tragic. Like, you just needed a name, so you took two English words and like threw them together. And like, you guys, it's great that the structure to it is just a whatever perspective, but it always fits for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think like everyone in the band is like romanticizing with the US pretty much, because we're all the same age, and it's like US in the 90s and in the 80s, it's still feels the best, even though it wasn't the best time. But yeah, it's like, dude, if I could go back there, I would live like in the 80s and would live in the Griswold movie or something like that, you know?
We all would. You're muted, Matt. You're muted.
Oh man, dude! I swear to God, the unpaid interns, man, they're no good at this shit. The record "Tangerine Tragic" is streaming everywhere, literally everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify, all that good shit. If they want to buy merch or buy vinyl or CDs of the album, where can they do that? Where can they find you? Where can they find the band?
Yeah, you can check us out on Instagram. I think it's called the Oklahoma Kid Band, and we have an own store. I ship all the stuff. I try to be very reliable with the shipping times, but yeah, from Germany to the US or anywhere else in the world, it's sometimes a long way, and it's sometimes takes a lot of time. But yeah, it's check out our store, the Oklahoma Kid Apparel.bigcartel.com, and yeah, we have the stuff you need, hopefully.
Any cool stuff coming up? Any tours, music videos dropping? Any announcements?
Oh, dude, that's too much. There's some festivals going on in the summer, and in October we have our first headline shows. It's called the Goodfellas Tour.
Yes.
And yeah, if you're near Germany, come around. We're in pretty much every big city that where a metal band can play at. It's like Berlin, Cologne, Hamburg, Rostock, where I'm from, Munich, Frankfurt, and Leipzig. And yeah, love to see you there.
Oh yeah, man! Thank you for coming on, man. It's a great show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those nice questions about all this nice stuff about the gas.
Oh yeah, the inflation pisses me off, man. Bryan, where can they find you?
Of Bryan of Death, Instagram and Twitter. The Common Chaos on Instagram and Twitter is where my podcast is at. Check it out. Brand new episode just dropped. If you guys got Roblox and you like to get weird, check it out. January 6th. Never forget.
Fucking plays Roblox.
You want to talk about right-wing conspiracies?
Yeah, no one plays Roblox at your age, dude. Something's wrong.
Check out my Roblox account if you want to get real. You can also get me at Minecraft. Throw that back up. Jiu-Jitsu. I like to participate in some Jiu-Jitsu every now and then. So you can find me on Minecraft.
All right. Every Friday night, we bring you a new live stream podcast. We are your number one source for new music. We're bringing you new bands from across the damn Atlantic. So you need to tune in. We are live every Friday night, twitch.tv/iHateTheScene, facebook.com/iHateTheScene, youtube.com/c/iHateTheScene. And actually, we're live on Twitter now. So at Scene Radio, you can see all that shit. Find those links and more at iHateTheScene.com. And we will be back next week with some more cool shit. Any last words before I play this super sweet outro music?
Oh, hope you enjoyed it.
We love you, Tom.
You don't know